I think my balls might have dropped again.
Yeah?
Is what I'm saying, yeah.
Have you more pubes?
It's a write-off down
It's
there.
a jungle.
Yeah, it is. It's Jumanji down there.
In the world of conspiracies, the supernatural, and the downright spooky, there are only two men who you can trust. Denis Lynn and Roger O'Sullivan. Or as they prefer to be called, the Unexplained Legends. In 1962, the US Department of Defense proposed an intentional false flag operation in Cuba in order to justify an invasion. Surely this can't be true. Or is it? This week on Unexplained Legends, Operation Northwoods.
No, my ass goes numb in every one of these episodes. That's how I know to wrap it up. So my ass is getting numb.
Yeah, it's like biological clock.
Yeah. So once the ass gets numb, I say, come, or whatever.
No, you can't say that. That's
yeah,
terrible.
you can. Welcome, listeners, to this week's episode of The Unexplained Legends. I am Roger O'Sullivan, and with me, as always, is...
Dennis drinks fake coffee because he has no life. Len.
And together we are The Unexplained Legends.
The Unexplained Legends.
Have you, Dennis, as you mentioned, you're a proponent of fake coffee or instant coffee, as people call it. Have you been trying around a few different brands?
I have been trying a couple of different brands.
Okay,
there's two brands. There's two types. They're both in Aldi. Yeah. And I get one of them sometimes, and I get the other one other times. One of them is like the Nescafe of decaf. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Grit.
Okay.
And I actually prefer the gritty one.
Yeah, you like gritty coffee.
Prefer the gritty one. But the only reason I drink this stuff is to give myself some bit of hope that my day is going to be better. But really, I really, really want to drink coffee, like proper coffee. But I get the fucking shakes and everything. I shit myself. I get shakes. I feel awful. I feel great when I'm drinking the coffee, but only when I'm in the moment drinking the coffee. But after that, I feel cat-like.
You're gone.
Terrible.
Do you find that instant doesn't make you shit yourself as much?
I haven't thought about that, but I think I could agree with it.
Yeah.
I guess that's something that you're thinking of, yeah?
Well, specifically... listen, it's common knowledge. People talk about if you drink strong coffee
loosens
in the morning. Yeah. I remember I was watching a video on YouTube. This is only last year. Video on YouTube, an hour-long video about the history of coffee, and it's economic and social history. And then I commented on it and saying that was very interesting, but he never mentioned anything about why it makes you shit yourself. And I just put this up as a joke. Actually got a good few likes, got about maybe 50 likes. And then at a certain stage, got a few comments. The comments were like, lol. Comments were like, oh, sure thing, brother, simplify.
Great job, Roger.
Yeah, stuff like that. Then eventually the comments descended into, I think you'll find that's only because you have a Western meat-eating diet and not because...
You're so culturally insensitive. How could you possibly bring that coffee thing up without considering all different cultures?
No, but the worst thing is that I looked into this person's profile and they're just from London. Right? There's a white yoga teacher from London just complaining about me. And also, I am a vegetarian.
So you know what you're talking about, and you still shit yourself.
Yeah, I know, and I looked it up. And it's actually a hormonal response. That's the scientific reason behind it.
How long have you been waiting to get this out?
Fucking years!
This was an amazing way of engineering it.
Yeah.
Hey, Dennis, do you know anything about coffee? Anyway, this YouTube comment 6 years ago.
This is the galaxy brain that you were seeing before, Dennis. I've assimilated Big Brain, and I now know how to manipulate you.
We haven't heard from Big Brain in so long.
He's on a research probe in space.
Big Brain here. I'd like you all to know that I'm on an important research mission in space. And I'll be back very...
Big Brain, dude, you're missing the party. Come on, get out here.
I'll be right with you, Chad. Goodbye, listeners.
This is a nice vibe, I think, this morning. I'm enjoying this vibe. I think we're both tired.
Yeah, I think so.
But not in a negative way.
No, I think... well, maybe you're physically tired, but for me, I'm mentally exhausted. That's the way I describe it.
Oh, yeah, that's way worse than just tired, man.
Yeah, because the body is willing.
Yeah.
But the mind is broken. That's there's something about drilling through like a guitar solo.
You're like Master Blaster, but just Blaster.
Yeah. He's the best part.
What, the big guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were going to be one, would you rather be Krang or would you rather be the thing that Krang goes into?
Fucking hell, man. I what's his name, that thing? The big yolk. I can't remember his name. There's going to be listeners throwing tomatoes now at their earphones, but
Big Brain,
come in here and
Come
tell
on.
us what his name. And I bet you know what, he probably doesn't even have a name. Something like weird like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be like Krang's bodysuit or something.
Krang's android body was called Archie. Now leave me alone.
Dennis. Based on the fact that we're both mentally exhausted,
Yeah.
Today's episode is going to be a bit of a mindfuck.
Oh, nice. You do this a lot now. You know I've been going out a bit more on the Thursdays and the Fridays. So you're like, let's fuck him on the Saturdays.
Yeah.
Mentally.
Yes, mentally. Thank you for clarifying. This episode, Dennis, is I think you'll like it, right? It's a bit different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit different. It is still close to my heart, but it's no ghosts, right?
Yeah.
No ghosts. No UFOs.
No UFOs for you, Dennis.
No UFOs, right? Not even anything supernatural.
It's just a story.
This is a God-honest conspiracy.
Alright, what's a God-honest conspiracy as opposed to a normal conspiracy?
Well, I think that most of them are God-honest conspiracies.
Mm-hmm.
But what I mean by this is like it's just a conspiracy that takes place in the real world. It's totally
As opposed to the other ones. What are you talking about? I thought all the other ones were true as well.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
They are. But I'm so
Well, how about this? Are you saying that this one is proven, fact, historical record? No.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, cool. So any of the probing questions I'm going to have today will actually have solid answers.
I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Right?
They'll have answers though.
Yeah, they'll have some answers. This takes place, Dennis, during the old the 1960s.
Okay.
Yeah, the swinging 60s, people say.
When they were all swingers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real life conspiracy. And it's something called, Dennis, Operation Northwoods.
Okay, no bells ringing here for me.
No bells? No.
No, I was getting excited when you said operation, but then afterwards.
You just thought I was talking about the board game.
Class.
Operation.
Is it really a good board game?
Yeah. Do you know what the best thing about that board game?
What?
You can play it yourself.
The worst thing about operation though is, I mean, how many times are you going to play that and then open it and most of the pieces are going to be gone?
You're missing a piece.
Yeah. And that's brutal.
Well, is it not single use?
It's disposable, is it? Do you get disposable operation?
I think you don't you take them out and just chew on them.
No, I think that's how they get lost.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That explains an awful lot, I think. I'd always get a bit freaked out when it's like water on the brain. Or first of all, the guy in operation,
Fucked, is he?
he's seriously
Is there
in
water?
trouble.
Is one of them water on the brain?
Water on the brain, yeah.
And what do? You have to.
You take out like a watering can out of his head or something.
No, you don't.
You do something like
That's
that.
terrible.
Or a bucket or something.
Could you imagine if someone like you knew died like due to one of these things?
Yeah.
And then there's a water bucket on this man's head taking the piss out of it.
There's there's your father has just died of a heart attack, and it's after the wake, and the family are going, oh, well, listen, we'll take out an old board game. We'll just do something. He used to love board games. We'll do something to cheer ourselves up. They take out Operation. They open it up, and the first card you get is like bad ticker. Gotta take this guy's heart out.
What if they opened it up and someone had, as a laugh, made it like so it's their dad's corpse, but the pieces are in the dad's corpse?
What? Oh, like the
Like it's
the
a
Operation
picture.
Man
It's
has
not
been
his
replaced
actual
with-
corpse.
Oh yeah,
but it's
yeah.
a picture of his corpse and on the autopsy table or whatever.
I think that there's an Etsy business to be made out of that personalized operation. So Operation Northwoods, Dennis.
Yeah.
You're not familiar with it at all.
No, no idea.
Okay, well, it's a military operation that took place during the 50s.
US.
Yeah, late 50s, early 60s.
Everything only takes place in the US during the 50s and 60s.
Yeah, of course it does. Yeah,
Nothing else happens anywhere else.
No, that was the only place that existed. Everyone was playing musical chairs in Ireland at the time. There was just not much going on really.
I'd say we all just had TB or something.
Yeah, awful lot of TB. Personally, I'm very glad I never got TB.
Yeah, me too.
I got everything else, like all the
Measles? Did you get measles?
yeah, got smallpox,
Mumps?
polio.
Nice.
yeah,
You look great for a man who got polio, measles, and smallpox.
but but imagine how good I would have looked.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
You would have been like the greatest human that ever lived.
Okay, so Dennis, off the back of that, we'll crack on with the lamestream narrative. On the 16th of February, 1959, Fidel Castro came to power in Cuba. A Cuban nationalist and Marxist-Leninist, he quickly set about revolutionizing Cuba by nationalizing many of its previously US-owned businesses and extending diplomatic ties to the Soviet Union.
Boo, boo, we hate that. No way, man.
Well,
Go with that, up capitalism.
I think...
What about all those American casinos and stuff? What are they going to do?
Well, Dennis, listen, they didn't like this, I'll tell you that much, right? Because given Cuba's geographical closeness to the US and the ongoing Cold War between America and the Soviet Union, Castro's Cuba was a cause for much concern within the US military. Can you believe that? Little old Cuba, US...
Fidel is an awful messer, like.
No, what
He's a desperate messer now. The Leninist, Marxist, what was this?
What makes you say he's a messer?
He's a desperate messer. Going in there to Cuba.
It was a great holiday destination, ruined.
It would have been fantastic. It would like, have all the casinos there. Imagine all those poor people who lost their low-paying jobs thanks to Fidel Castro. Yeah. And all those people then were, like, they couldn't even pick what healthcare they wanted. They just got free healthcare. That's really anti-American.
Or like, think about it this way: the amount of people, the 80% of people that gained literacy, and like, let's face it, I hate reading.
Yeah, so, imagine that.
Yeah,
being forced to read.
It'd be fucking ridiculous. Of course, anyone would want to step in.
But you know why they had to read? Just fuck all to do.
Yeah, that's true.
Fuck all to do. A big boring communist country.
They didn't need to read when they had 10 channels. Uh-huh. That everyone knows it. Nobody's talking about this.
No, they've just got one channel from the state.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's pretty good. It's BBC. But do you know what I found out recently while researching this episode is that in Cuba, it's illegal to name anything after Fidel Castro after his death, because he wrote that into law. So that there couldn't be a cult of personality around him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Unlucky though.
Yeah, cause to be honest, most people are saying, "Wow, that's unreal."
Yeah, no, that's a leader.
Now that we need a leader like that.
We should never forget him.
Yeah. There was a fear that Cuba could be used by the Soviet Union to stage an attack on the United States, or even to house Soviet nuclear missiles. These Cold War tensions were the backdrop for Operation Northwoods.
I still don't know what this is, and I didn't expect it to be this close to stuff that I knew, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, I think I'm surprised you didn't know this.
And it's still not the sonic gun test thing.
No, still not that.
Good.
That for me, that's a bit far fetched.
I was getting a sandwich the other night.
Okay, go on.
And it was a Cuban sandwich, right?
Really?
Yeah, right. It was fine. I'm sure I would have liked the actual original version of it rather than the rip-off version that I got.
I've always wanted to have a Cuban sandwich.
Yeah,
but most versions of them are like have meat in them.
Yeah, no, this had meat in it.
Okay, yeah.
But it was tasty, but it was it wasn't what you could get in Cuba.
Okay.
But this person comes up to me, right? I says, "Can I have a Cuban sandwich?" And she goes, "Oh, you're having the Cuban sandwich?"
She didn't say that, did she?
Cuban, and I was just like, "Will you get out of here, for God's sake?"
She really said that?
Yeah, I said Cuban. I was like, where the fuck do you think we are?
This is you can tell her this, right?
Mm.
I have a close friend who has met the ambassador from Cuba to Ireland.
Yeah.
And he said Cuba to him, and he didn't fucking correct him once.
He didn't say Cuba?
No, he said, "Do you know what? As far as I'm concerned, that's fine for you to say that, because frankly, it's quite embarrassing for you to say it the other way, when you don't say any other words."
Yeah,
like
imagine what an idiot you'd sound like. Oh, can I have the Cuban sandwich?
Yeah.
It's like, lad, you're from Cork.
So, right, Dennis, back to Operation Northwoods, right? As far as the US military officials were concerned, Cuba was a ticking time bomb and needed to be neutralized sooner rather than later. However, there was one problem facing the United States military, and that was the complete lack of aggression on the part of Cuba.
So they needed to get them to provoke. They needed to provoke them into doing something.
Here we go. You're getting into it now.
Classic American stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, like Route 1 American thinking. Without a valid provocation from the communist state, there was no way to legitimately intervene in Cuba. Thus led to the drafting by the Joint Chiefs of Staff and Chairman Lyman Limnitzer.
There's no way anyone could say that word.
Can never say his name right. Also, when I was reading about him, I thought Limnitzer is there? Oh no, born and bred in America. You know what I was thinking?
Yeah. They bring him over.
Thought he might have had a what's it called, a career change halfway through his life,
halfway through the century.
Yeah, Chairman Lyman Limnitzer, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and him drafted a document called "The Justification for U.S. Military Intervention in Cuba," or simply Operation Northwoods, as it's more commonly known.
Mm-hmm. This reminds me of that episode we did about Princess Di. And remember, they found that document about the attempted assassination of a Serbian diplomat.
Oh yeah, that's good memory.
Mm-hmm. And then that got me. I was going to bring that up, but then I just thought about, and I need you to clarify this for me because you'll know the facts on this.
Yeah,
there have been some serious clips going around from Harry's audiobook.
Oh yeah.
About the Elizabeth Arden cream.
Yes.
Is that true?
Do you want me to you want a fact check from me?
Yeah.
That's true.
She'd urged me to apply Elizabeth Arden cream. My mum used that on her lips. You want me to put that on my todger? It works, Harry. Trust me. I found a tube, and the minute I opened it, the smell transported me through time. I felt as if my mother was right there in the room. Then I took a smidge and applied it down there.
That's him actually reading that.
Yeah.
Where he says that his dick is basically burned in some way.
Yeah.
Like through overuse or something.
Yeah.
And then he says someone suggests him putting on Elizabeth Arden cream. He puts it on, and then he says he gets this. It reminds him of his mother, and it's like she's there in the room with him.
Yeah.
And he uses the word todger.
He does.
Is that really true, or is that not a piss take?
That is really true. It's unbelievable it's not a piss take. But the funniest thing about that is, fair enough. You've a huge book deal, let's say, right? Probably offered what, multiple millions for the book deal?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Fair enough. Writing that down once when you're trying to meet a word count and not thinking about it, but needing to read it back, doing your own audiobook and not thinking, I'll maybe, can we abridge this?
I think it's crazy. I saw a pretty good video summing it up yesterday of like, Harry, look, I'm with you and Meghan, but like, just take it down by 10%. We don't need to know everything. Just take it down by 10%. It's absolutely mad. Like,
it truly is a tell-all book.
Yeah, everything. Tell everything that comes into your head in a stream of consciousness. Like someone else said that it's like you wrote a book about all the things you tell people in the smoking room at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Do you think? Of course, Harry mentioned his military background.
Yeah, I think probably mentioning the Count is probably not the greatest thing in the world to do.
No, too many. You wouldn't. I don't think you'd mention the Count if you were really that embarrassed by it. Like, have you ever? I used to work with a guy who was one of these, total wife guys.
What the hell is a total wife guy?
Like, oh, my wife. I love my wife so much. Like
total wife guy.
Total wife guy.
That's
a freak.
It's so funny. Like, if you really dig into that, and he's not an asshole, and the guy just loves his wife.
Oh no, yeah. But no, what the thing is, it's like performative.
Yeah.
Like, really over the top performative. Like, yeah, she's the greatest. Like, not actually. He's ceased to treat her as like another human being. He's just like, she's amazing. But what he used to do sometimes is he would talk. He was like maybe in his 40s. And this goes back to like the Count thing. He would be like, yeah, I'll tell you guys, like, the big thing is like when you find the one, and it's just, that's it, you found the one, and then you're with her. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not proud of it, but I slept around a lot when I was younger. I'm not proud of it. Must have slept with about 40 or 50 women. And I'm not proud of that at all.
Yeah. Stick that number up in the fridge there. Stick that number up in the fridge. Everyone look at it.
Yeah, between 40 and 50, but way closer to 50. In fact, I'd say 50.
Probably over 50. If we're being honest, over 50.
And I'm not proud of that, and I love my wife now. But I just wanted all of you to know that number.
Yeah. I fucked at least 50 women.
Yeah. Imagine needing to take it back to my life, sitting through that while you're eating terrible canteen food and you hate your job. You're just like, oh my god.
Just look up at them and go, name them.
Yeah. Go on. Well, there were a few Sarahs. That actually would be the worst thing, because there would have to be overlapping of names eventually, like at some stage.
Yeah, I guess there would be. I don't know.
If you're talking about it just in Cork, like you've probably
just in Cork,
you've probably had a few Sineads.
If you rode 50 women, sorry, if you had sex with 50 women in Cork,
yeah,
that would be like half the women available to you.
You what you really would have done is just eliminate your ability to go out in public.
You can way too many.
Yeah, you can no longer go anywhere where you might interact with somebody from the service industry.
There's actually so few shops and stuff in Cork that if you had sex with 50 women in Cork and like at any one time they went into the city, there'd be one of them in every shop.
There's a chance you could run into multiple ones of them
in the same shop.
Yeah, in the same shop. I wouldn't go near Brown Thomas, I'll tell you that much.
No.
We'll get into the old document now, Dennis. What the document contains. The document outlines a plan to manufacture the justification which the US military would require in order to invade Cuba. In order to invade Cuba.
There you go.
The plan is divided into 4 stages of increasing agitation. Are you ready to receive these stages, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm in the second stage of agitation, I think, this morning.
Are you? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm up there.
Do you know? I did my primal zodiac recently.
I don't know what that is.
I think it's made up zodiac for people that didn't like their original zodiac.
Okay.
I genuinely think that's what it is.
It's like a refresher. Yeah, you didn't like the one you got stuck with. You're probably like Sagittarius or something, and now you want to be bumped up to Aries.
Oh, is there any other crazy one? Yeah, so my normal one is Sagittarius. And if you ever read, if you read all of them, but Sagittarius is one is like, you are the best person who ever lived.
Yeah.
You're the best person who ever lived. You are a god as a lovemaker. You may be a genius, Albert Einstein level. And it's just all this stuff.
Reading a horoscope is hilarious because you're like, oh, they definitely were bigger before in ways. I think they're like a cult now almost, like as in people are really into them. It's trendy. But I think before they were like an everyman thing. People would check out the horoscope, see how it's going.
They've intensified or something.
Yeah, totally intensified. But they're like, I remember you'd look at your horoscope and be like, you're going to fall down on the ground today and shit yourself, and you're just like, won't believe that. Then the next one is like, you're gonna have the best day of your life and you're gonna win the lottery, and you're like, yes I will. Yes, I will. Horoscopes are brilliant.
That's the one. My primal zodiac, though, for anyone wondering, I'm a road runner.
A road runner.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that name to come out. So they're completely different.
They're animals. Yeah.
Oh, right, nice.
So I'm a road runner.
What does it mean?
Road runner. I'm a go-getter.
Go-getter.
Self-driven. I don't interact well with coyotes.
You basically are describing a car.
I meet a lot.
Yeah,
that's another factor of it.
Quite bird-like.
Bird-like. I'm blue with a yellow beak. I can run through cartoon drawings of tunnels on walls.
Yeah. What about the person coming after you? Can they run through that?
No, they cannot.
They go straight into it.
Yeah. And I actually looked you up as well, Dennis.
Yeah.
And you are a coyote.
Quite coyote, I should say. Yeah.
You're a coyote, and your rising sign is wily.
Do you know, I was doing a bit of hiking the other day.
Okay.
And I saw this blue little thing in front of me. It was running away, so I ran after it. And it went over a cliff. And I was going fine. But then I looked down.
Oh, you didn't.
Bam, hit the ground.
Oh, well, listen, it happens to the best of us. Not me, obviously.
Don't look down.
So, stage 1 of Operation Northwoods. The first of these stages takes the form of attempting to manufacture legitimate provocation by way of deception within Cuba. The army would begin to build up forces in Guantanamo Bay and harass Cuban civilians around the military base in order to build up a sense of intimidation and fear within the Cuban population and deceive them into thinking that a US invasion had already been planned in order to goad Cuba into attacking the US military base first.
Clever.
Yeah.
Clever. That would be pretty annoying as well.
Gaslighting. They're basically gaslighting Cubans.
Especially if the Cubans are just on the beach and the boys are over on the military base just going, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you. They're like, what? Like, nothing. Fuck you.
They weren't clear on it what exactly the harassment is.
Yeah, what could they do? I guess they could just shoot bullets up into the air. Can someone please tell me what happens when bullets get shot up into the air?
They come down.
Have you seen videos of people just shooting bullets in neighborhoods and stuff? And it's like, where's it come down?
In America, there's like X number of people killed every year by stray bullets coming back down.
No way.
That's true. Well, look it up.
No,
Big Brain.
It's depressing. Yeah, Big Brain can pop in with it. Big Brain's having a big return today.
Yeah, you remembered he existed, and
I like Big Brain, even though he disagrees with everything I say. I like him.
Yeah.
When you shoot bullets into the air, they definitely do come back down again. In rural areas, they're highly unlikely to hit somebody, but in America, it's estimated that between 30 and 50 people are injured by falling bullets every year. See ya.
But no, I'm pretty sure that they do come back down.
I saw a video the other day of a child shooting an Uzi, right? I don't know why that came up.
Okay, yeah.
But and he's just like sporadically shooting it off, and then I was like, that is kind of funny. It's just a child shooting an Uzi, terribly irresponsible.
Yeah.
But then I was like, Jesus, where are all those bullets gone? But it is something I don't think people consider. Like, people are not considering it.
So I think specifically what it is that the majority of the time the bullet will lose velocity. Is that what it is?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like before returning to Earth, so it will essentially fall. No more.
Like a rock or something.
Yeah, it will just be like it might hurt you, but it won't do enough damage to kill you. But there are genuinely people killed by bullet going into the air, coming back down.
I was doing a bit of a clay squirrel shooting the other day, right? Doing a little bit of shooting. One instructor, there's two instructors inside his little shed. One instructor was, very, very nice, and he was telling you like, oh, do this, do that, keep your cheek close to the butt of the gun and all this stuff, right? It's cool.
You had it up by your ass.
I didn't. I looked over. The other guy was. This is not a lie. The other guy was showing them how to aim the gun. He was standing down at the end of the barrel, with the barrel facing his head, as he was looking at them, going, "Yeah, you see there now. You see where my eye is."
No way.
Yeah, this is out in a proper gun place. And he was standing with his face in the barrel looking at the person holding the gun.
Was it loaded?
Well, like, the thing is, with gun safety or whatever, you always assume it's loaded.
Yeah.
And here's the guy just looking straight down the barrel of a fucking gun.
There's the thing, because I grew up with a shotgun in the house and we used to play with it. Like my parents didn't.
You're it.
Well, yeah, no, but there was a superstition like that. I guess you call it gun safety. We call it a superstition. A superstition where you should never point the gun. You should never point the gun at somebody unless you're planning to kill them or something, or self-defense.
Yeah. You never point the gun at anything you don't want to destroy.
But ours was that the devil might load it without you realizing it.
I mean, yeah, it's just the biggest hocus pocus way of saying, play safe.
But I'm telling you,
kids shouldn't play with shotguns for a start.
But I'm telling you, right, if I was playing with that shotgun as a kid, right, which for the sake of this story, I'm making this up and it's not real. Mm-hmm. But if I was doing that growing up, just running around the house with it, having taken it from the attic and playing with it. But
imagine if you got done in this, or your parents got done in this. But what age were you when that happened? Like,
what age am I?
When you first put your hands
in
on
this
the shotgun?
that I'm making this up.
Yes,
about 10. 10.
So it would just be very funny if the child services came and took you away for 8 years.
Took me away.
But they said you should have been in for 8 years, so you owe us 8 years.
I owe them 8 years of being in
their
service.
What a scandalously awful sitcom that would be.
Yeah.
Where you go into foster care for 8 years because you play with a shotgun when you're 10, but you're now like 30.
Playing in the background.
What's it called?
Oh, that song.
No. What's the sitcom called? Something to do with guns, I guess.
Child gun. Gunchild.
Okay, Gunchild. Okay.
Second stage of the plan, Dennis, right? If the first phase failed of just the agitation, just the attempt to gaslight the Cuban citizens into thinking that they were about to be invaded, the next step would be to covertly stage military attacks upon Guantanamo Bay in order to make it appear as if they had come from Cuban forces, effectively creating a false flag operation.
I believe it. I mean, I believe it.
Yeah.
As in, I said it like I would believe it, but you're giving me the facts, so I believe it.
This is in the old document. So they're like, okay, if this doesn't work, if we can't get Cuba to attack us,
how come the Americans released this stuff?
We'll get to that.
Okay,
we'll get to that.
Feels like it would not be in their best interest.
Well, listen, we'll get to that, right? So once these this is stage 3 now, right? I was expecting a more shock from you about the old false.
I'll be completely honest. I felt like we went off on so many tangents in the last ones. I was like, we better give the listeners actually something to bite into.
Okay. So they would just make up these military attacks, stage external military attacks on the base and pretend they'd come from Cubans.
The brazen bastards.
Yeah, that's like absolute lunacy.
Imagine if you're sitting on the beach again, same lads just being like, they're like, we're not, look, we don't care, say what you want. And then you just see a boatload of people dressed as like badly as Cubans coming across the beach. You're like, oh no.
They're all eating Cubans.
Oh no. And they get onto the beach and then they immediately get back in the boats and start shooting at the military base.
I'm going home. Listen, I don't even know.
You're like, hey, we saw that.
Yeah.
We saw you do that.
So stage 3, Dennis, is once these fake attacks had been adequately disseminated within the United States, the military forces on the island would retaliate by launching a counter-offensive on the island, taking out strategic military emplacements and securing water and power supply on the island. So basically, once they've reported back to the US, we've come under attack, made up that they've come under attack, they would then launch an offensive from Guantanamo Bay and seize all of these strategic locations.
So then they can establish a base on the island.
Yeah.
Is Cuba an island?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Okay, thank God. You looked at me like it wasn't.
No.
I was like, oh no.
So then, finally, stage 4 is the US military would launch an all-out offensive on the island. So sending troops from America to Cuba to support these troops that had already taken strategic locations, all based on a fake military like self-sabotage.
I'm very interested to see when this document came out.
There is a lovely little treat about that.
Okay, good.
So, as insane as this document sounds, it was indeed an official plan, and even made it all the way to the desk of President John F. Kennedy, and was shockingly close to being implemented. Had it not been for Kennedy's shock and disgust at what had been suggested, it may have even been approved.
JFK, right? You know, I know your American sentiments, right?
Yeah.
And I agree with probably 99% of them. But JFK, was he a good guy?
I would say probably, he was better than he was bad.
Yeah.
He
was better than he was bad. Yeah, so he had some good qualities.
Yeah,
he
I
had
think
some
so.
bad ones.
I think he was a good leader.
Yeah. And what about his brother then?
His brother? He's a good leader as well. Yeah, would have been a good leader.
Yeah, but he's a bit strange though. Like, I'd say he probably would have had like maybe. I mean, it's a bit of a stretch because I know people like Bobby Kennedy, and here's a hot take, but I think he might have kind of got rid of like, democracy. Maybe he had his secret police running around the place. You know the way he crushed the mafia with no laws and all that.
Well, that's just what you need sometimes, Dennis. You need somebody who's going to get shit done.
No. An iron hand, perhaps.
You just need.
Would you say you need a strong leader sometimes?
I would say sometimes you need a pleasant dictator.
Yeah, an ambivalent dictator.
Yeah,
someone who kind of says, "Look, let's suspend things for like 3 to 4 years, and you'll have it back after then." But then, if they need more time, or like a third time in the presidency or a fourth, then have at it.
Well, listen, I'll put it to you like this, Dennis: if you were doing a good job and you were fired after 4 years, you'd have them up on unfair dismissal.
Do you think that you would make a good dictator?
I would make an unreal dictator.
Well, yeah, but I guess we might have different measurements of that. I'm sure you'd enjoy yourself. Would you be good for the country?
I would. I'm very selfless.
Yeah?
I'm very selfless.
How many guitars do you have?
Very caring. But Dennis, I'm saving those guitars.
For who? Children?
No.
Needy guitar children?
No, I'm saving those guitars from ending up in the hands of worse guitar players.
Oh, okay, right. So you're giving them what they need.
Yeah, I am.
But back to the dictator. Like, what would make you a good dictator, do you think?
Make me a good dictator. I genuinely think I'm very fair, very even-handed. I'm not quick to anger. And I'm selfless. I'll do anything for other people if it suits me.
What if someone like challenged your power?
Oh, fuck them then. That's somebody now challenging my power. He's back. For the listeners there, we started talking about US military machinations and got a knock on the door. And who was it, Dennis?
2 bobbies. 2 UK police people.
It was the police. Dennis, The Matrix have sent their agents.
Got a heart attack. 2 of them walked in, right? First one goes to me, don't worry, it's nothing to worry about. I said, well, you're not the postman, are you? You know, like, why are you here? I got a fright, right? Because last night when I came home, there was a woman outside and she was trying to get into an apartment. And so we went up to her and like just made sure she was okay and stuff, and she couldn't get in. And then eventually she actually got in, like this kind of in the car way basically. Got in. Yeah. And I was like, I hope she's all right, you know? See 2 cops coming in today? I was like, here we go. She's dead. R.I.P. dead. But actually they just wanted me to move my car. And then I was like going down. I was like, okay, they wanted me to move my car. And I was like, how the fuck do they know where I live?
Oh, they must have ran the reg.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. They fucking ran my reg. My reg got ran.
That's interesting.
And then I went downstairs and the steward was there and he said, you got to move. Or I hopped in and I put down the window and there was a van blocking the way to get out and a cone.
Really?
Cone and a van just parked there. And he said, you coming in and going out? And I said, well, I can't go out because there's a van there. And then I said, how did you know where I lived? And he goes, they run on the computer, don't they, mate? They run on the computer. And then he just let me park somewhere else.
Do you know what's...
That was terrifying.
Here's a good thing about that. 2 positives, right? 1, it's a good thing I didn't answer it, because you know me with authority. I would have gone, get the fuck out. Where's your warrant?
Get out
where's
of here.
Where's your fucking warrant?
Where's your warrant?
Yeah.
Don't put your hands on me. Their hands are in their pockets.
Yeah. The other thing about that is that at least you know that you don't have any like fines or anything.
That's
or
true.
You're not wanted.
That's true.
They would have surely said something like that.
Fake plates, so.
I don't think it's. I don't think that there's any legal obligation whatsoever for them to have made you move.
No, I think
that was purely intimidation, really.
I think that the car is parked in a place that is like it's kind of like an unofficial way an ambulance would get in.
Okay.
So they wanted me to move it there.
Yeah.
But it was really funny. She gave me a look of like, you know, oh, for God's sake, you know.
Yeah.
Don't be an idiot getting scared because there's 2 fucking cops calling at your door.
It's like, well, it's never happened before.
She's like, don't be a little bitch. I was like, okay, sorry.
Do you know if they didn't have a legitimate reason, I think that's the police interfering in a civil matter, and you could have a. Do you
think I've got a case?
Yeah, I think you've
got a case.
Yeah. Listen,
I'll call down to your offices of Roger and O'Sullivan.
Yeah. I think I could help you out with this.
Yeah.
I think we might not need this podcast anymore, buddy.
Are you still chasing ambulances, Jar?
Yeah, but you know, only if they're within a certain.
Better be a big advert going in here.
Yeah.
Alibi not quite airtight. Loved one not happy to lie for you. No eyewitnesses and plausible deniability. Well, get in contact with O'Sullivan Lawyers. If you're thinking there's no way I can get off this charge, well, I'll tell you, you O'Sullivan can. Just listen to these testimonials.
I was accused of stealing a crate of Furbies there off a truck a few years ago, and O'Sullivan said, no face, no case. And John, he's fucking dead right.
So, Dennis, to get back to what we were talking about, if you can even remember, right?
It's been a hectic morning.
Yeah, JFK, right? He was disgusted by the plan.
Yeah.
Right. Good old JFK. But despite Kennedy rejecting the proposal, believe it or not, there was an attempt to go over Kennedy's head.
To who?
To go to Secretary of Defense Robert McNamara to get approval.
And did they get it?
Thankfully, no.
Okay.
He didn't. But that could have gone another way. Who knows? You know?
Is that going over his head or next to his head? Surely next to his head.
No, it's like, well, I'll tell you, it's going over his head, next to his head. So I
understand what you mean.
Imagine Robert McNamara is behind you, so I'm going over your head to talk to Robert McNamara.
But you're going back down to the same level again after you jump over my head.
Yeah, over your head and back down. But little did they know that head they jumped over was soon to be blown up. So
Angelus noise.
Yeah, so Kennedy would later even have Lyman Limnitzer removed from his position as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff as a result of the Operation Northwoods.
I must have ruffled a few feathers.
Well, Dennis, it did, right? Kennedy's rejection of the proposal and dismissal of Lyman Limnitzer was seen by the military as Kennedy going soft on Cuba and the Soviets.
Oh, they wouldn't like that at all. He might get a bit of comeuppance for that, perhaps.
Well, the perception made him increasingly unpopular within the military and led to Kennedy being perceived as an enemy to the duties of the United States military.
Okay, how about this, right? JFK, because of the conspiracy that surrounds him, there's
what conspiracies
loads of different reasons as to why he could have got assassinated.
Yeah.
There's so many different theories out there.
Yeah.
Do you think that he was an especially... Do you think that he was a president that would have a lot of conspiracies around him just because of the guy he was and the situations he was in? Or could you take different presidents and apply that many conspiracies to them if they were assassinated? Or was he just like a special one?
Well, that's a good question. I'll reply to that with Reagan. There was an assassination attempt on Reagan, and there's no real conspiracies
as to why
around that, unless we're short for episodes in a year or two. But
in which case there will be 10.
Yeah, but there's not as many popularly conscious conspiracy theories around that.
No, there's not. But there's 500,000 for JFK.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like, they're scattergunning information out there
to
getting
confuse us
much out there as possible, so you don't know who to believe.
Two things about that. One, right? Have you ever heard about the phrase "no smoke without fire"?
No, I haven't actually.
Yeah. Except for smoke was cold. But
do you think anyone's ever asked that question? The other person's gone, "No, I actually never heard that phrase."
Not familiar with that one. The other thing to say is that one of my favorite things when we eventually do JFK, one of my favorite things is when they went around and got everyone's statements. And there was the additional commission to look more into it and find out if there was any additional depth to what was going on there. They had to investigate everyone's claims that was in the official original report. One of which was a woman who claimed that she saw a UFO while it was happening.
Wow! And they had to go and do it.
Yes, so they had to be. They were just like, "Are you really? You think you saw an alien over there?"
They're like, "Okay, what's up next?" "Okay, alien." "Oh, for the love of God!" And it's like, "Oh, you're coming to Joey's recital tonight, aren't you?" "Oh, honey, I really can't. It's very important.
I need to look for UFOs in Texas," which there are a lot of, to be fair. So some even suggest, Dennis, that the rejection of the plans like Operation Northwoods may have played a role in JFK's eventual assassination.
Some people being you.
Yeah, potentially. Perhaps fittingly, he got his revenge, though, Dennis. JFK got his revenge on if they did kill him.
Yeah.
If they killed him, he got his revenge because fittingly, Operation Northwoods was declassified on November 16th, 1997 as a direct result of the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992. Although long rumored to have been an operation considered by the US military during the Cold War, it was now officially confirmed. The documentation is out there.
And what was the political backlash of that then? Was anyone in a position of power at that stage to even be punished?
No, most of them were dead.
Hence probably why it was declassified.
No, it was declassified because that JFK Assassination Records Collection Act. That's I think Oliver Stone was instrumental in getting that popularized and stuff. Is it basically just anything surrounding JFK or mentioned in the conspiracies had to be declassified?
It must have been a few squirrely moments for people there though when it was anything associated with JFK. That could be a wide reach.
Sweating.
Dude, they have to accept the reason as well though for them to be declassified, don't they? As in there, it has to be ruled that they can be declassified. As in as in they can't say, "Oh yeah, we want to do all this stuff in Brazil as well," and they're like, "Well, that's nothing to do with JFK, so we're not declassifying it."
No, I think you are right. So just before we wrap up and I ask you what you thought of it, Dennis, there is actually another US operation called Operation Mongoose, which did go ahead. And Operation Mongoose was basically just the US military signing off on constantly having internal agitators within Cuba and basically funding anti-government forces within Cuba.
And who signed off on that one?
Who do you think, Dennis?
Nixon.
I actually don't know.
Okay.
I can check it up though. The big brain will say.
Who do you think? You really had me going there like you knew it.
Listeners, leave me alone. I'm very sick.
When did that take place?
Operation Mongoose. I'll put it up in the old I'll pull it up on the...
Operation Mongoose is a peculiarly sinister name for some reason.
Yeah, it does sound a bit...
Mongooses can eat snakes and shit, can't they?
Yeah, they can, yeah. So that actually was authorised by JFK.
Ah, no.
Yeah, but I'm sure it was under duress. He was probably told, listen, if you don't sign this, kabloom.
Yeah. And then they were like, oh, did you call off that assassination? Like, oh no, I thought you did it. Lee Harvey.
What did you think about Operation Northwoods then, Dennis?
I think it's very interesting, but I'm not completely surprised by the machinations and goings on of the US military.
I thought I wanted to change it up a bit because we have some good ones coming.
You mean some out there ones, some crazy ones?
I'm not going to say that.
Is this your attempt for us to become more legitimate? You're trying to make us like one of the real sciences or something?
No, I wouldn't say that. I feel we are legitimate already. I feel we're quite legitimate. I think what I'm doing is I'm lulling you into a false sense of security. Because there's one that's coming up. I don't know when it's going to come up, but it'll be within the next 10 episodes anyway. And that will make you shit the bed.
Shit the bed.
Yeah.
We are not doing another podcast from bed. I said that was in my contract. It's not happening anymore.
No, actually I can't say that.
Well, okay, fine, deadly.
No.
I really like these things, but I like them in a way that's, I suppose, ultimately quite depressing.
Yeah.
That these things can happen, and who knows? Like, I mean, the amount of lies that are probably out there about history and what we're eating and just taking in is probably pretty bad. There's an excellent book called Economic Jackal, and it's all about people going in when, let's say, Egypt or any other African country, when they try and nationalize their resources, and they have a very popular leader, and he starts nationalizing things.
Yeah.
Basically, they send in economic jackals. They go in and pay the guy a visit and go, here, look, we can give you all the money in the world. You're going to be the happiest guy ever. Or we're going to kill all your family. Which one would you like? And then they get turned. And there's these guys called economic jackals that go in and do that.
Really? That sounds... I haven't read that book, but it sounds a lot like... Is it Naomi Klein? Shock Doctrine, I think is...
I've never read that.
That's like a similar thing. I guess they're both just writing about reality.
Yeah.
They're not ripping each other off or anything.
No, I don't think so.
Imagine that if like historians were like, you ripped me off, man. The King Henry VIII, he's my guy.
Yeah, but if one guy just wrote a smaller book, the other guys couldn't write larger books. Like, as in, that would just be the only amount of information.
You know, I have a dissertation, a history dissertation that's been cited like 1,000 and something times. And I don't remember if I made anything up in it.
Do you know what I would like to see? I'd like to see a pop-up book of all the American presidents.
That would be good.
So when you get to George Bush, there's like 2 towers pop up, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But like it's no holes barred. Like you get to Nixon and there's guys breaking into like like a tower or whatever into the Democratic place. Abraham Lincoln is just getting shot. JFK is in the Cadillac, and you can move it along until he gets shot and stuff like that. Oh, that'd be actually cool. You can move it along, and then like a book depository pops up.
Oh, that's good.
And Lee Harvey's in it.
And there's like a little tab on Lee Harvey.
Yeah.
You pull it and he pops out the window.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
as you do that, Kennedy's head comes off.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good. I like the sound
I think
of
it'd
that.
be pretty cool.
Do you know when you were talking about the Nixon one? Did you intentionally not say Watergate, or could you not remember the name of the Watergate building?
I didn't. I honestly... I thought of it and thought that the way I was explaining it was better.
Okay.
Which just shows you all you need to know about my hangover this morning.
Before we wrap up there, Dennis, I'll just say that I'm glad you liked the episode. I thought I'll give you an easy one.
Oh, it was nice. I enjoyed this.
Yeah. And I thought you might even learn a thing or two.
Well, I hope we've bent the ear of some people now, and they think twice about the big governments in this world and what they're doing to us.
Yeah, and Dennis, I'll tell you, a little conspiracy. I even think a lot of this episode will be edited.
Probably will be.
Yeah,
probably will be edited.
So,
Some would say might be a tough one, Dennis.
Yeah, some would say this one would have us sweating.
All right, thanks very much for listening to this episode of Unexplained Legends. I've been Denis Len. You can get me at Denis Len 3D on Twitter and Instagram and wherever else. You've been
Roger O'Sullivan. You can find me at Roger O'Comedy or at Roger O'Sullivan on Twitter.
If you're still listening, you can see all the lovely links underneath our podcast description now. Click to read more, whatever it is, and you can see all the links. You can find us and you can support us on Patreon. Hello to everyone who's supporting us. It's very kind. And also, if you want to send in any spooky stories to us, you can send that into unexplainedlegends@gmail.com.
We love you. Goodbye.
Sir, I want you to know I'm placing you under arrest. Anything you do, say, can, and will be held against you, but you do have the right to remain silent.
It was personal use. It was all for personal use.